Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to talk about the controversial fight that was Vergil Ortiz versus Serhii Bohachuk. And right off the bat, I'm going to say that there was no robbery in this fight. I repeat, there was no robbery. It was a very competitive fight with lots of close rounds, lots of back and forth action, which that alone eliminates the validity of the term robbery being used to describe this fight or the result of the fight. But not only that, as controversial as it may be, I actually thought that Ortiz was the rightful winner. Guys, I watched the fight twice and I scored it twice, and though I will admit it was a closer fight than I initially thought on second watch, I still found myself scoring the very close rounds in favor of Ortiz. Now the rounds I gave to Bohachuk were rounds 1, 4, 8, and 9. Obviously, rounds 1 and 8 were, 10-8 rounds because he did drop Ortiz in those rounds. But at the end of the day, he still only won 4 rounds in my opinion. Ortiz, to me, won 8 rounds. A couple of those, mainly the 5th and 7th, were razor thin. And I mean razor thin close. And with them being really close rounds, in a really close fight, the value of said rounds are immeasurable. These 2 rounds, at least in my scorecard, would decide whether the fight was a win for Ortiz, whether it was a draw or a win for Bohachuk. Because, if we take these rounds out of my scorecard, Ortiz would have won 6 rounds and to Bohachuk's 4. But because of the knockdowns, the fight would be a draw. So if Ortiz won both, well, he's going to win 114-112. If they split the rounds, it would be 113-113, a draw. If Bohachuk won both, he would have won 114-112. So needless to say, both of these rounds were of the utmost importance in my scorecard. So yeah, let's talk about it. I'm gonna start off with the 5th round. They went toe-to-toe in this round. They went back and forth, finding success against one another. Both landed numerous shots. Maybe Bohachuk may have even outlanded Ortiz a few in this round, but Ortiz's shots just had more luster to them. Perhaps it's the difference in their technique, but the difference in pop was clear. You could hear Ortiz's punches. The thumping sound made from each clean shots, these shots were just more explosive, and to me that signals that they were more effective and damaging. The quality of his shots were just better, and so that's why I ever so slightly edged around his way. Now round 7, another extremely close round where these two went to war. They both landed multiple shots to the head and body, and I'm talking clean, damaging, eye-catching shots. And as I was trying to score the whole round in my head, I had no idea who to give it to. I had no idea who was winning the round. I was waiting for someone to give me a reason to give them the round. And lo and behold, in the final 10 seconds, Ortiz landed 2 jabs that snapped Bohachuk's head back. Now I know it ain't much, but in a tightly contested round like this one, I thought it just about did the trick. That was the separation that Vergil needed to get the nod from me. Again, this was a very close round, and I'm talking we're picking hairs here, but somebody had to win the round. And here's the thing that most people don't understand about judging. Just because you give a close round to fighter A earlier in the fight doesn't mean you should give fighter B the next close round to even it up, to make it fair. No, you give it to whoever you genuinely think deserve the round more, even if they just edged it by just a bit. So yes, I gave round 7, a very close round, to Ortiz, even though I gave round 5 to him, another close round, because I just think he did just about enough to win it, and I don't see a problem with that. I'm not gonna give Serhii Bohachuk the round just because I gave Ortiz the other round. Like, that doesn't make sense to me. It shouldn't be that way. Now, in terms of the other rounds, well, they were competitive. Some were closer than the others, but I thought the winners of the round were clear enough. And with that, my final score was 114-112 in favor of Vergil Ortiz. As for what I thought of the fight, I thought, well, it was a very competitive fight. A much more competitive fight than I predicted. I thought Ortiz would pick him apart, guys. I thought he would be way too athletic for Bohachuk, and I thought he would, eventually land that punch that would fold Bohachuk. But of course, that didn't happen, and I'm actually kind of disappointed in Ortiz's performance. I thought he looked a tad bit lethargic, to be honest, a step slower than usual, not nearly as sharp as he's previously shown, not as accurate, not as explosive, and let's face it, he gassed a little bit. He started slowing down, in round 7 or 8. He grew frustrated and he was flustered by, I'm assuming the fact that he couldn't get this guy out of there. He was swinging for the fences without setting the shots up, and he was missing. Bad. Oh, and another thing, discipline. Ortiz lacked in-ring discipline in this fight. The thing with Vergil is, right, when he gets hit or when he gets embarrassed or anything of that nature, he loses discipline and he throws the game plan out the window to get his lick back. In round 2, right, he was jabbing and he was moving and he was handily winning the round by doing so. But as soon as he got dropped, even though he knew he wasn't hurt, he opted to fight Bohachuk instead of continuing to box him. I believe it's his way of asserting dominance, trying to show him and the fans that whatever happened isn't what they thought. I think this type of mindset, will cost him dearly in the future. As a fighter, it's good to have that dog in you, that grit. But what's even better is to be able to keep your wits about you and use your head at all times to follow the game plan. You know what they say, boxing is a thinking man's game, not a tough man's game. So overall, to me, he was missing something in this fight, and I hate to blame it on this, but maybe it's the ring rust. And yes, I'm aware he's had 2 fights prior to Bohachuk, but let's be honest, them fights were tune-ups. And on top of that, those 2 fights both ended in the first round, meaning in more or less 2 years, this man has only clocked in 2 rounds. So I wouldn't be surprised if ring rust was a factor in his poor showing, but who knows, maybe he was just a bit overrated. Maybe he just isn't as good as I and a lot of people thought he was. Who knows. Now, it wasn't all bad for Vergil. In my eyes, he did still win the fight. I liked his jab. I wish he was, more consistent with it. He snapped Bohachuk's head back countless of times with that snappy jab, and he stabbed him to the body with it too. And speaking of, I do like his body shots. He was throwing to the body, which is always a good thing to do. Do like the fact that he did attempt to walk Bohachuk into a trap, mainly his uppercuts, but he missed the mark, which is, it's okay. Like I said, he wasn't as accurate in this fight. And once again, he showcased his doggedness. Bohachuk nearly pushed him to his limits, but Ortiz managed to push through. Bohachuk had him buzzed a couple times and he did get dropped, but he kept on going. Like I said, I thought he gassed in the middle rounds and he still found a way to keep going. He found a way to win the rounds and push through. So for that, I truly do commend him. As far as his future, I don't know, man. I really do think he had an off night here, one that he'll learn a lot from. I don't think we're gonna see another lackluster performance from him again in a while, at least not to this extent. I think he'll realize he isn't on the level he thought he was and that he can't be relying on that knockout. I do think, like I said, ring rust was a factor as well. And regarding that Crawford fight, guys, well, I'll just say right now I'm leaning heavily in favor of Crawford. I think Tim Tszyu would be a better fight, and I think that should happen next. And, the winner should fight Crawford. As far as Bohachuk, well, what can I say? This guy is a beast. He is a machine, and I definitely underestimated him. He has a killer jab. It's pretty dang accurate. And though it isn't the snappiest or the quickest, he gets the job done. You know what I mean? His 1-2 game is also pretty damn good. That right straight was finding the mark pretty often in this fight. His motor, that shit can run forever. His durability, his resilience is next level. His conditioning and gas tank is elite. His chin is made of granite. This guy can take punishment, right? His body holds up too to proper body shots. His defense, he was actually pretty good, man. Yes, he got hit clean, but he also blocked a bunch of Ortiz's best shots. And Also his heart, his heart and will. This guy's a warrior. He's a champion. Ortiz had him hurt in the 11th round, and he was stunned for like a second or two. Like, he was proper stunned. He wasn't moving, but he didn't go down. This guy's a warrior. I applaud him for that, and I'm happy for him. He made a good account of himself. He wasn't the most known fighter prior to this fight, but after this performance here, where the majority actually believes that he beat a highly regarded contender in Vergil Ortiz, surely he gets another shot at a big name. Surely he gets another crack at it. And you know what? He deserves nothing less. He's one hell of a fighter. As far as his future goes, I say him and Majimov would be a fun fight. Fandora would be fun. Jesus Ramos, and honestly, Spence. A fight with Errol Spence Jr. would be so fun. Now, I don't know how realistic these fights are, but I would love to see him against Spence, man. I think that would be a war. Or, even a rematch. He does deserve a rematch against Ortiz. Perhaps they should run it back and to see, who really won. Who really is better. I don't see why not. But that's it for me, guys. What do you guys think of the fight? Who do you think won? How did you score it? I'm ready to get roasted down below. I just wanted to speak my mind on the topic because everybody and their grandmother is making a video on how Bohachuk was robbed, and I just, I don't agree. But yeah, please leave a comment down below. Please leave a like and subscribe. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you. Oh, and another thing. Hold up. Another thing. For those who need quantitative, numerical, or statistical proof on who won this fight, just look at the punch stats, guys. Look at the CompuBox. I said it before, but I want to say it again. I personally don't value what the CompuBox say all that much, but there are people who do. So if you're one of them people, go on and check that out and come up with your own conclusions on who you think actually deserves the nod. But that's it. Peace.